everyone, and welcome to Monday Meditation, The Joy of Sitting. This hour is dedicated to your interest in meditation and mindfulness practice. And we'll talk about different things regarding mindfulness practice. Tonight, I'm really dedicating some of our talks to how we grip and how we release different things that happen in our life, whatever that may be. And additionally, we will also enjoy several different types of meditation practice. As we start off, I'm waving back to Danielle Keith 75. Thank you for being here tonight. And so this class, this Monday meditation, the Joy of Sitting hour, is really here to help you with meditation and mindfulness practice. And that's really what we're dedicated to. Your questions, concerns, all of that, whatever stage you may be in, and also whether you're interested in personal growth ongoingly, or if you're interested in finding ways of helping you to resolve certain mind loops or emotional loops that you feel stuck in. And whatever your interest might be, this is a good place for that, I believe. And in a moment, we'll really get rolling here. Tonight, our program is on the social media platform Clubhouse. Also, there's a Zoom space. And additionally, there is this Instagram live space. And most of you are in the Instagram live space, and I am really happy to see you here tonight. So tonight, what I want us to take a look at initially, and please, if you have certain concerns, certain interests that you'd like us to drill down into a little bit and maybe get somewhat granular with it, please write something in the comment area so that I can direct our talk to include your interest in wherever you may be. And I'll a couple times tonight, I'll wave back to those of you that have shown up, waving back to Ben.D. Grun, Grunward. I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I hope so. Grunward. And also to Healing to Whole. Great to see you here tonight. So let's go ahead and start and see where we go. Some of you may have enjoyed certain types of body work in your life. I know I have at different times. And for example, deep tissue body work, something called rolfing, that can be excruciating if you tighten around where the pressure is being applied. Or if you soften around it, it can give you a tremendous release. So part of where I'm going with this is to ask you to take a look in your life at what happens. So first of all, before anything happens, we as human beings were given this gift and many gifts. One of the gifts we were given is that we have sensitivities on many different levels. I mean, if you think about all the different colors of light that you're capable of perceiving, if you're a sighted person, or sounds, or taste, or touch. Also, mentally, all of the various different forms of sensitivities that you have as you input information and whatever you do with that information. Also, emotionally and spiritually, similarly. When we talk about spiritually, maybe when we do our meditation, there may be something that you feel that you're receiving information on some frequencies that you're sensitive to. So our sensitivities give us sense information. Now, one of the things that I'm not asking you to do, please don't do this, but if you ever notice what happens to a child, especially pre-verbal child, if there is an argument around them, they might not be the person that's being yelled at, but when voices are raised and interactions get heated, what do babies do? Well, probably they're not laughing. Probably they're crying. And so why would they cry? Well, they're sensitive, and these vibrations that they're experiencing, and I'm going to call this type of experience with sense information stimulation. Some stimulation is pleasurable, some is not, whether you're reading a book and it's stimulating your mind to think about creative things, or maybe it's a book you say, I don't want to read this, and not, especially not before going to bed, and you put it to the side. You have a choice of what sense information you bring into your being. Now, when you talk about, if we include into that various different modalities that you might find yourself in, let's say we're driving down the road and it's peak traffic, it's rush hour traffic. And what happens is that, of course, you might be one of those people that want to get on the freeway. And sometimes when someone wants to get on the highway, they do it in a manner that is somewhat erratic and may cause the people behind them to feel fearful about their own well-being. And so what happens then? So that's a key. So here's, in the present moment, an event takes place, senses are activated in a way that may be unpleasurable, and then what happens then? Well, so here's the choice. We have several choices. One is to relate, and another one is to react. And they're different, aren't they? So when we relate, we might say, as that person cuts us off and does that in two or three other lanes, oh, I've been that person. And we might chuckle to remember that all that was going on for you when that happened. The stress that you were under, maybe you were rushing to the hospital, it might have been some very important event, that maybe you were late for an airplane, whatever it was. This part of relating isn't condoning it, it's understanding that something's happening for that person. That person doesn't know you. They're not deliberately attempting to make your life fearful. Something's happening for them. So to relate takes us that on that path. It takes us down that way of being open to life, what life presents. And another approach is to react. And what happens when people react? So, um, and you've been probably been that person that reacted or seen people react to events like that, and there are maybe cuss words, maybe another way of saying that is expletive, deleted actions and vocals that go with that. And then where does that go? And how does it feel afterward when you or I, when someone has reacted? So part of how that feels afterward is we don't feel so good, and we might be kind of shaken up inside, and it contributes to our level of stress. And stress, of course, is not good for our health, is it? So how we react or relate to our life circumstances makes a difference. And where I'm going with all of this is this: mindfulness practices and meditation practices help us to enjoy a relaxation response, to be able to chill, to be with life, to open ourselves to a variety of types of stimulation. Not that they're life threatening, who wants that for anyone? And yet, when we're around someone that we are close to and they do different activities and all of that, it's so easy to take it personally, isn't it? and yet we don't really know what's happening for them. All we experience is what it's doing to us. And so then what do we do with that? Well, so when that happens, so here's the thing. So we're either the stimulation is pleasurable or unpleasurable or neutral, or maybe all of those at the same time. So you have your sensitivities regardless, even before, during, and after whatever events are happening in our lives. Those sensitivities are on board. That's a part of this gift of a human birth with all of its various different places where the stimulation registers. And so, not right now, but a little later this evening, we're going to do a body-centered mindfulness practice. And the beauty of the body-centered mindfulness practice is it helps us to see a way, a physical approach to releasing, even within our body, releasing stress, tension, pain, and discomfort of a multitude of different forms, not just physical, but all of the different places and all of that. And the reason for releasing the stress is because it's good for your health. And then as you find release, it helps you in how you relate with what's happening in life. So, mindfulness practices overall, whether it's a body centered mindfulness practice or other forms of mindfulness practice, they help us to interrupt the reactive pattern. As we said earlier, the reactive pattern. Now, there may be times that are critical to react. Say, for example, there's a fire in your home. You better react like right now. And if you have a fire blanket and you can extinguish it, or a fire extinguisher, whatever you have, you want to get that fire out right now. Now, if it's the normal stuff that the stove is working and all that kind of stuff, and you're cooking your meal, well, there's no real fire to put out. But if there's another type of fire that isn't good, then of course you want to put it out. And your reaction and reaction time is critical, because if you allow the fire to get too big too fast, it's over. And but if you do respond more quickly, react more quickly to those events, of course, so how we react when we react can save your life. And there are certain types of reactions where these events are not life threatening, but we're impacted in ways that are not pleasurable. And so mindfulness practices help us to look at what's happening, to open our mind to what's happening. And if there are emotions to process, then there are ways to process emotions. And we would process them or use these mindfulness practices because it's good for our overall well-being. Well-being involves your health on all the different parameters, doesn't it? So, and the reason I'm drilling down into this area is I was trying to describe to someone the other day about impact and what do I mean by impact. And so if you look at where our conversation's gone thus far, we looked at the fact that we all have sensitivities. Our sensitivities can get stimulated in a variety of ways. And we have this choice based on that form of stimulation, whether it's unpleasant and we don't prefer it, or maybe it's pleasurable, we do prefer it, or maybe it's unpleasant and we do prefer it, like golfing or whatever, floats your boat and all of that. So mindfulness practices help us to have a choice, that help us to find serenity moment to moment. And where things get off kilter, we're not in serenity. We're in kind of a local hell realm of sorts, a place that we don't like being, and it involves more stress. So mindfulness practices help us to release stress so that we can come to life with an open mind and heart, which gives us our most powerful skill sets for happiness overall. Now, some of you that know me and are interested in a life path of growth, or on the other side of it, trying to find a way to eliminate certain cycles that are very difficult to live through, I encourage you to check out my website, artofconnectionnow.com, and also this new class that I've opened that is you start when you are. It's self-study and it's also self-paced. 59 contemplations, meditation practices, the whole gambit of practices that are for the daily practice of loving kindness. And please remember that loving kindness work always begins with how you speak to yourself and how you treat yourself. And in your mind, part of speaking to yourself is when you have a rant going on in your mind about someone else that's still speaking to yourself. So mindfulness practices are here to help you to find better and better ways to nurture yourself, to increase your level of well-being, happiness, health, and especially in how you love yourself, because all love starts with your love for yourself. Your love for others is limited by how much you love yourself. And that doesn't mean that you don't have any love to give. I'm sure you have a lot of love to give. And the love that you give to yourself matters. And there are many different ways we love ourselves. In my perception, the fact that I'm here speaking to you and you're here listening to me and you're present here on all sides, this is a way that you're nurturing yourself. So, and I thank you profoundly for the privilege to be with you tonight. Thank you for being here. That being said, let's do our opening meditation of the evening. This is a spaciousness meditation. In other words, this meditation helps you to reclaim the space that you feel that you lost. And as you do that, you feel better. Having space for yourself makes you feel better. So it's always a good idea with meditation, sitting practice, to just very gently reposition your body on the surface that your body's resting upon. And as you're ready, slowly and gently allowing your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And taking a slow and gentle deep breath in and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. And meditation involves a certain type of breathing called diaphragmatic breathing. So as we do this spaciousness meditation, noticing the way that your chest, your shoulders, chest, and belly wall expand on your inhalations and contract on your exhalations with just the very natural rhythmic movement of your breath, not hyperventilating, not hyperventilating or forcing your breath, just normal in and out. Feeling the way that your shoulders, chest, and belly wall naturally expand on your inhalations and contract on your exhalations. And while you're experiencing the movement of your body that accommodates your breath and breathing, also noticing the warmth and coolness of your breath. And also noticing the moist and the dryness of your breath. And also noticing the beating of your heart and your pulse that flows throughout your whole being. And as you experience your breath, the natural rhythmic movement of your breath, the movement of your body that accommodates your breath and breathing, these qualities of your breath, warmth and coolness, moist and dryness, and the beating of your heart and your pulse. Notice the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within. And allowing your thoughts and emotions to be here, fantasies. Notice all those workings of your mind. And notice the space that your thoughts, emotions, and fantasies arise within. And as you experience these aspects of your breath and breathing, the beating of your heart and pulse, the rising of your thoughts and emotions within this space, maybe even experiencing the mind as emptiness. It has a lot of space for thoughts and emotions to arise. And as you experience this space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, notice this gentle calm that's in this space and softening into your calm. And as you soften into your calm, perhaps noticing that it makes it easier to experience your breath and breathing, these qualities of your breath, the beating of your heart and your pulse, and the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within. Noticing that this isn't about ignoring, this is about recognizing. Recognizing the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, and allowing all of your senses to register this space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, and this gentle calm that's always right here. Softening your belly wall and your shoulders, continuing to be aware of the movement of your body that accommodates your breath and breathing, these qualities of your breath, the beating of your heart, pulse, and the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within. And you might notice that some thoughts are hot, some thoughts are cool, some thoughts there might not be a lot of feeling to them. They may just be fantasies that come and go, or they might linger, they might evolve. And notice the space that these thoughts, your thoughts, and your emotions arise within. And softening into this space, this spaciousness within your mind, and this calm that's right here in this space. Softening your belly wall and your shoulders, and taking just another moment to unhook and float and drift within your calm. And taking another slow and gentle deep breath in and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. Slowly beginning to move your fingers and your toes, gently stretching your hands and your feet, slowly moving your wrists and your ankles, gently shrugging your shoulders and stretching your back and your neck, your arms and your legs. And when you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open and notice if the room and space around you seems a little different than before, and if you feel a little different than you did. If there is a difference and you're enjoying this difference or curious about it, please soften into it and recognize that this is a gift that you've given to yourself. And I'm waving back to Roshaz 83. Thank you for being here tonight. And I'm very grateful to all of you for being here. And I hope you get a lot from tonight. I'm here to serve. And my lane, as you probably guessed, is loving kindness. And I came by this very honestly, I needed it myself. And as it became my path, other people were interested. And that's why I do this in service. So we started off with the opening talk about sensitivities, and we just did our spaciousness meditation. Let me tell you what's on tap for the rest of the night. We want to talk a little about reactive patterns and what causes them. And then we're going to do our heart centering meditation. And before that, we're going to do some body centered mindfulness practice. And then afterward, we'll talk a little bit about ways of liberating yourself from old reactive patterns. And then we'll do our generosity practice, which has to do with processing unpleasant emotions. And then we'll kind of do a recap of the evening, and we'll close with the Beauty Way prayer from the Native American Church. So let's take a look at what causes reactive patterns. So, children are born innocent and things happen in their world. And there are impacts. And some of those impacts are pleasant, some of those impacts are unpleasant. And whether they're pleasant or unpleasant, additionally, they can cause trauma. And then what happens if those parts of a child's psyche are left lingering, and then there's repetition of similar types of events, and children don't want to hurt? Of course not. So, what children do is they find a way, because kids are smart, they don't want to hurt. So, they learn a way of living their life around these traumas that cause them to feel less pain. So, they hurt less. It doesn't mean they don't hurt, it's just that they hurt less. And also, in terms of those of you that are on a path of growth, that's wonderful. And how do you get past these? How do you continue to grow? Well, there are patterns. And so, how do you get past one pattern as you go to a new way? So, there still are these patterns, whether they're caused by trauma or they gave you really good skills. And little by little, we improve on those skills so that more and more we can become more and more happy, more and more at peace in our life. And regardless of whether there were traumas or certain ways of living life that gave you a lot of good material, there still are these patterns. And so, whether, like I said, with trauma, with these patterns, we have to identify what they are. And part of that identification is understanding that part of the pattern and part of how it got to be our pattern is we identified with it. So it became part of our self concept. And there also, as a part of self concept, there are certain belief systems, worthiness, unworthiness. Some of it is ego based, some of it's emotionally based, other parts of it may be spiritually based. And yet, how do we go from one to the other? And as I speak to you about this, all of the above in terms of my lived experience, meaning that yes, there were traumas in my life that I needed to work through. And I'm so grateful that there were tools available to help with that. And also, there were people that had used those tools before that were willing to hand them along. And even after working through all of that, then in a human lifetime, you might want more. And what does more look like? And every layer that you move from one layer to another layer of greater range of motion, better ways of responding rather than reacting. As we transition, there still is this old pattern, and part of it's our identity. And as we move from one to the next, part of what happens is that there's a type of fear that arises that I call the fear of non-survival. Now, that doesn't mean that your life is literally threatened. It's that you're achieving some new milestone, some new way of living your life, and you haven't been there before. And because you haven't been there before, you're not sure if you can live through this. Can you make it? And even if you make it, what's life going to look like on the other side of this? And so there's some unknowns. And if you, as long as your life literally isn't being threatened and you have this fear, well, this is it's a good fear. It's a fear to face. And then there's a self talk that goes with that into ways of encouraging yourself to keep taking known risks that are not life threatening to help you to improve and improve. And little by little, you achieve a lot, more and more happiness. And yet you made it through these different cycles of growth and all of that. And for some of you that are dealing with family of origin material, still there are cycles and there is self-concept and there are belief systems. And as you work through them, and there are ways of working through them, you achieve more and more happiness. And so the end goal for all of this is to feel more happy without harming yourself and without harming others. With who enjoys harming others. So this isn't a path of sadism or masochism. It's a path of growth where we face challenges one step at a time and we work it through. And little by little, we feel better and better. So the value of being on a path of growth is that it helps you so that you don't backslide. And I can tell you about that myself because when you backslide, you feel like a failure. And one of the reasons for me that I kept up with the path of growth is I knew if I didn't continue to grow, where that would take me. And I knew what it felt like to fail. And the only hope I had that there was some life experience that actually could help me so that I didn't fail is to continue to grow. And as you keep it up and keep it up, as you continue to grow, you feel better and better. And part of feeling better is that you didn't fail. You've succeeded at each level and you continue to succeed. And if there are challenges, you learn how to face them and you keep going. And so there's hope for all of us. And there are ways of living your best life ever and improving on that and continuing to improve. And not for some um, bad gain, but your happiness, it also improves the happiness of everyone around you and gives them hope. So, that being said, let's do our heart centering meditation. And on the front side of that, we're going to do some stress and tension release. This particular style of tension and stress release is known to go back to the time of the Buddha and maybe before. It involves how you identify your sensitivities and you identify where in your being you experience them. I call it a body-centered mindfulness practice, and you can do this all throughout your day. Things happen, well, where you feel it in your body, and as you do that, you help to heal the mind-body split and give yourself more ability to recognize your sensitivities so that you know when your sensitivities got stimulated. And another way of saying that is impacted, stimulated, impacted, contacted, pleasurably or unpleasurably, and then what do you do with that? So let's do some of that and see where we go. So once again, please reposition on your body, on the surface that your body's resting, and very gently allowing your eyes to drift downward until they do close. Taking a slow and gentle deep breath in and gently releasing your breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. And slowly beginning to scan to feel on the inside of your being from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for those locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomfort resides, and perhaps noticing where your sensitivities are, where your stress, tension, pain, and discomfort reside, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, whether they're caused by aggravation, anger, worry, anxiety, whatever it is for you, financial, political, whatever it is, fear, wherever it resides within your being. And giving these locations and content, kind of like a hug on the inside of your body, giving these locations and content a very warm, tender, nurturing, loving, and inclusive embrace. And tightening your embrace just a little bit more in order to give these locations and content a very open-hearted, full-hearted, warm, tender, nurturing, loving, inclusive, and connecting embrace. Almost like thanking them for being here because it gives you something to practice your mindfulness practice with, and softening and releasing. Gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release. And allowing this feeling of release to flow throughout your whole being. And allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release. and softening into this experience of release. Scanning once again from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for those locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomforts reside, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, no matter how large or how small, whether they're caused by worries, hurt feelings, fear, whatever it might be, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. This time, giving these locations and content make the gentlest of embrace, a gentle hug to the inside of your being, the places where your sensitivities are, and the content that are lingering within them. A gentle embrace. And softening and releasing. Gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release. And allowing this feeling of release to flow throughout your whole being. And allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release. And softening into this experience of release. Scanning one more time from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for those locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomfort resides, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, no matter how large or how small. And this time, giving these locations and content the lightest of touch that's possible for you. Whisper soft, barely touching the fringes of these places. And softening and releasing. Gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release. And allowing this feeling of release to flow throughout your whole being. And allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release. And softening into this experience of release. And very gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to the dull ache in your heart, the doorway in. And you know this dull ache from many losses that you've had throughout your life. The dull ache is always here. The doorway into your heart is always here. And leaning backward into this dull ache, leaning back more and more into the doorway of your heart until you somewhat plop inside your own heart. And allowing all of your senses to register the experience of being on the inside of your heart. It may be more quiet on the inside. It might hurt less to be on the inside of your heart. Notice what your experience is on the inside of your heart. And also noticing the place within your heart that your love always arises from. Whether your love is for a person, a place, a thing, a two-legged, a four-legged, a no-legged, whether your love is for someone on this plane of existence or any other, your love always arises from this place. And allowing your love to flow through you and around you, softening into your love, and allowing all of your senses to register this pure love that lives within you. And as you soften into your pure love, allow your pure love to saturate your being. Allow it to touch your tenderest of places, all of your being. And perhaps noticing some of the essences of love, like caring and kindness, and also this incredible vibration of connection that dwells within your love. And you know what it's like to connect with someone, with something, with anything, and also to desire to connect when that isn't possible. And allowing this vibration of connection, your vibration of connection, to flow through you and around you. And allowing all of your senses to register this pure connection that lives within you. And softening into your pure connection. And allowing this vibration of pure connection, your vibration of pure connection, to saturate your being. Perhaps noticing how fulfilling it is to experience your pure connection and to know that it's always here within you. And taking just another moment to unhook and float and drift within your pure connection. And slowly and gently taking another deep breath in and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. And slowly and gently beginning to move your fingers and your toes, gently stretching your hands and your feet, slowly moving your wrists and your ankles, gently shrugging your shoulders and stretching your back and your neck and your arms and your legs. And when you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open and notice if the room and space around you seems a little different than before, and if you feel a little different than you did. If there is a difference and you're curious about this difference or really enjoying it, please soften into it and recognize that this is a gift that you've given to yourself. And I'm waving back to Snapshots in the Woods. Thank you for being here. And DT.parenting, thank you for being here. So let's talk a little bit about finding liberation from old patterns. So this is that ever ongoing part. And mindfulness practices are so wonderful for this. And pointing back to this class I'm teaching, the daily practice of loving kindness with these contemplations, it's really amazing that what happens in the practice of the daily practice of loving kindness is these contemplations start to show up at places in our life that we get triggered, when our sensitivities have been impacted in a way that we didn't prefer, and we would ordinarily act out our reaction. We would react, but then what happens with the contemplations is they interrupt that cycle and give you a chance. Is that really what you want to do this time? You don't owe it to anyone to do that. What's better for you if you didn't do it? And is there another approach? And so that's why the daily practice of loving kindness is just, it's an amazing piece of work that you can give to yourself. And so let's go ahead and we'll do our generosity practice. So this is one method that's part of the daily practice of loving kindness for processing unpleasant emotions. So just pick something from your day. What was the most unpleasant thing of the day? Unpleasant feeling, whether it was because you felt impacted by someone that you loved or whatever it was. Maybe it was a random event, like getting on or off the highway during rush hour. Or you went to the bank and the line was just huge and you had to be there. You had to get, you felt like it would take forever. So whatever it was for you, that was the most unpleasant emotion of the day, please pick that one, because then you know that you're not making it up. And if you feel better, you know that you did something about it. And this is just to help you to practice in community if you already know these methods, or this is a reminder, or maybe this is the first time. So try it out. Once again, please reposition your body on the surface that your body's resting. And when you're ready, very gently allow your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And when you have unpleasant emotions, you breathe them in and you breathe them out, and that's not freeing. So please breathe in this unpleasant emotion that's right here with you. Breathe it into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Breathing in your unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Breathing in your unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for yourself. Continuing to breathe, leaving your eyelids closed, and considering, if we had some magical device for measuring all of the qualities and distinctions of human emotion, of everyone on this plane of existence in this moment, even though their circumstances may be very different than yours, how many of them would measure so close to your measurement as to be indistinguishable. One other person and other people, perhaps hundreds or thousands or maybe even millions of people feeling just like you and just like me. And on the next in breath, breathing in your unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Breathing in your unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Breathing in your unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for all of them in yourself. Continuing to breathe, leaving your eyelids closed and evaluating. Do you feel any more compassion for yourself and what you've experienced today? And for others that feel just like you do? Do you feel any more compassion for yourself and others that feel just like you? When you're ready, very gently allow your eyelids to come back open and notice if the room and space around you seems a little different than before, and if you feel a little different than you did. If there is a difference and you're enjoying this difference or curious about it, please soften into it and recognize that this is a gift that you've given to yourself. Big shout out to DRB at Speaks. Thank you for being here this evening. So let's take a look at what we did tonight. We had an opening talk about sensitivities, and we did our spaciousness meditation. We looked at reactive patterns. We did our stress and tension release and our heart centering meditation with the experience of a meaningful sense of connection. And then we took a look at liberating old patterns. And we just finished doing our generosity practice and processing unpleasant emotions. And we're just about to close for the evening. And I want to take a moment to hear and acknowledge Danielle Keith, 75, Ben D. Grunwald, Healing to Whole, Roshaz, 83, Snapshots in the Wood, DT, Parent King. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's really wonderful to see you all. And just because I'm recording this in the Zoom space, I'm changing the virtual background, and I'll tell you why. So we're going to close here in a moment with an adaptation of the Beauty Weight Prayer from the Native American Church. Now, one of the things about this beauty, the word beauty in this context, has to do with the awe and wonder of nature. Some of you experienced the solar eclipse, and you know the moon's been here for quite a while, and so has our sun. And so there, when you think about the longevity of that, it transcends our understanding in a way, doesn't it? And also, for example, the Milky Way, and you know our planet is located in one of the branches of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way has been here for a long time. That understanding transcends our understanding, and also the size of it is so immense. Again, it transcends our understanding. However, that doesn't diminish you or me. We're a part of this experience right here and now in this moment. So when I refer to beauty in this prayer, when I say the word beauty, it's this type of beauty that doesn't diminish you, and yet it transcends our understanding. And when you think about that beauty, see if you can expand your awareness to include that in all the great directions. And the four directions are part of the Native American church, honoring the sacred in all the directions. Beauty that is in front of us, and beauty that is behind us, and beauty that is to the left of us, and beauty that is to the right of us, and beauty that is underneath us, and beauty that is above us, and beauty that is all around us. And it is essential to remember the beauty that is within us. Dear friends, there's a word that's spoken in the language that the Navajo people speak. The word is Ojana, which means walk in beauty. Ojana, Ojana. Dear friends, walk in beauty and always remember that you bring the beauty with you wherever you go. Walk in beauty. Thank you again for tonight. Namaste, Gasho, many blessings. Walk in beauty and always remember you bring the beauty with you wherever you go. Walk in beauty.